What's up guys, it's Nathan from Tattooing 101, and despite teaching thousands of people to tattoo online, there's still a lot of established artists that absolutely hate on the idea of online learning. Stick around in this video because I'm going to explain why and how you can navigate that to still get around to getting ripped off for 3 to 4 years in a traditional unpaid apprenticeship and still get in the shop that you want to work at. We've been creating tattoo education content since 2016 and plan on doing it for many more years to help aspiring artists like yourself. So please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification icon so we can keep making more videos for you. If you're new to the channel, I'm Nathan from Tattooing 101, and when I first started, I did a 4-year apprenticeship, okay? Basically, I learned from the old heads, which today I absolutely would not recommend. It's kind of the reason why I work with Brandon today and teach people how to tattoo online so that aspiring artists don't have to go through the same long and painful route that I went through. But when it comes to learning online, there still are a lot of tattooers that haven't gotten with the times yet and have their reservations about online learning. So in this video, I'm going to explain why and how you can navigate it so that you can actually get into a studio even if you have learned to tattoo online. So reason number 1 is jealousy. Okay, a lot of these older guys that came up in tattooing, back in the early 2000s, 90s, they didn't have access to the same amount of resources that are online today. The only way to learn how to tattoo back then was to bleed for it. You pretty much just had to be a shop slave for a few years and basically eat dirt for a very, very long time to earn scraps of little information here and there. And that's if you were lucky, okay? A lot of the time, artists would just get exploited. They would just go into a shop, they'd work for free, and then they would just let them keep working until they burn out and quit. So it was a very difficult time to learn tattooing. They had to struggle for many, many years to learn what they learned. And when they see someone that's coming in to tattooing and has only been in it for 1 or 2 years and already they're doing guest spots all over the world, they've got a huge online following and they're making well over 6 figures a year, builds up a lot of resentment because they had a much easier time getting into the industry compared to what they did. And I can kind of sympathize with them on this because it does definitely diminish some of the meaning of that suffering. But tattooing is just like any other industry, right? It changes over time. Taxi drivers got really annoyed when Uber came along. Okay, it's just kind of the way things go, and industries change over time. You kind of have to adapt or fall behind. Reason number 2 is they don't want to compete. For those of you guys that are new to tattooing, it's very different to what it used to be. Back in the day, you could show up to work intoxicated, you could be rude to your clients, you could do average tattoos and show up late to appointments and party all night and then tattoo the next day, and you'll still do really, really well because there was just nowhere else to go. There was only a couple of shops around. Many, many tattoo shops back then succeeded despite the poor management, the poor operations, and all that stuff, right? Fast forward to today, you just have to sneeze in the wrong direction, you get a bad review, and your career is over, okay? Which basically means you kind of actually have to work now in order to be successful, which a lot of old school tattooers don't really like because it was so much easier back then. They don't want to change. Because they don't want to keep learning and pushing themselves creatively, a lot of newer artists are coming into the industry and absolutely smashing them because they're hungry, they're pushing themselves artistically, and they're becoming the best artists that they can be in a very short period of time, which is making it difficult for them to compete. This is why they want to keep so many artists out of the industry, because the more that come in, the harder it gets for them. The third reason is they've got a very outdated view of what online learning actually is. Back in the day, there was no Tattooing 101, there was no tattooing YouTube or anything like that. The closest thing that there was to online education was Miami Ink and Ink Master. That's it. Okay, so people would watch those tattooing TV shows and then they'll kind of learn a couple little things, but not really. And then they'd buy a tattoo kit off of eBay or Amazon, hack up a bunch of their friends in the kitchen, take some photos in gnarly, unsanitary conditions. You could see carpet in the background, people smoking and drinking in the background, whatever. The tattoo was all overworked, massive glare, super, super unclean photos, right? And back then when someone would come into a shop and say, hey, I learned online, they would automatically put you into that bucket of people, okay? But the reality is that's not an accurate reflection of what's available today in terms of online education for tattooing. It's changed and improved dramatically. So now people can actually learn from credible artists from the comfort of their own home instead of watching tattooing TV shows that don't really teach you that much. And that actually brings me to something that I'd like your opinion on. A lot of people, when they get into tattooing, it's because they got inspired by some of these TV shows, whether it's, Ink Master, Tattoo Nightmares, Miami ink, whatever it was. I'm curious, is that how you got into tattooing or did you fall into it some other way? Let me know down in the comments below because I'd love to hear how you got started. So reason number 4, and this kind of flows on from reason number 3, is that a lot of artists are jaded from hearing people say that they learn how to tattoo online, because 90% of people who say that don't actually take it seriously, okay? These are the guys that are getting, the eBay kits or the Amazon kits, tattooing their friends like when they're over, not wearing gloves and doing all this unsanitary, like gross stuff, and not really trying to become, professional artists. When you come into a studio and you say that you've learned to tattoo online, a lot of the times, because so many people that are like that, they just loop you in or put you into that bucket of people. It's only the 10% of people that learn to tattoo online actually follow a structured program from a credible mentor like the Artist Accelerator program and are taking this seriously. A lot of artists get quite frustrated after seeing so many people come in with tattoos that are done in their kitchen, overworked pieces, done in unsanitary conditions, and then having that person expect the shop or the artist to roll out the red carpet and just give them a job, that they kind of just get to the point where they automatically switch off when people say that they've learned online. When you go into a shop, you don't want to lead with the fact that you learned online, okay? You want to let your work speak for itself. And if it's good, they're not going to care how you learned, okay? It's very easy to get a job in a quality studio as long as you approach it the right way and you have a quality portfolio. All right, so reason number 5, so hygiene. This is by far not the sexiest topic when it comes to tattooing, and it doesn't get views, so there's not a whole lot of videos online that talk about it. But tattooing is more than just the art. You literally have people's lives in your hands, and it only takes one mistake, okay? A lot of these really gnarly, messed up diseases like HIV and Hep C have no symptoms in the beginning, okay? So someone that looks completely healthy can walk in through the door, and if you don't tattoo them in a clean and sanitary manner, you can potentially pass that on to someone else, okay? And it only takes one mistake, okay, to permanently destroy the reputation of not just the shop, but every single other artist that works in that studio. When it comes to getting a job in a shop, studio owners need to be confident that you're not gonna fuck up any of their clients before they let you out on the floor. This is why in our course, one of the first things that we cover is sanitation so that you can tattoo safely. All right, so we're getting close to the end here, guys. Reason number 6 is that a lot of artists can't teach people online themselves, so they assume it's impossible. Most apprenticeships, even these days, just plain suck, okay? There's no structure and they take years to learn because they're just so inefficient. No accountability, no guidance, no plan. Most of the time, the artist is just winging it when it comes to mentoring, and if their apprentice comes out the other side and becomes a professional tattoo artist, great. If they don't, it is what it is, they leave and then the next one comes through. Unfortunately, because of this, many apprentices do not make it past the first year of the apprenticeship. So when tattooers hear that it's possible to learn online in 90 days, they call bullshit because from their reference experience, they've never seen anyone do it in less than a few years, okay? But when you actually remove all of the stuff that has nothing to do with tattooing, the coffee runs, being the shop slave, cleaning, mopping, scrubbing toilets, setting up stations, it's actually possible to learn how to tattoo very fast. 70% of the apprenticeship has nothing to do with teaching you how to tattoo or draw. Okay, so the last one, guys, reason number 7 why a lot of artists have their reservations about online learning is that they think you'll have a lot of bad habits that you'll have to unlearn when they take you on as an apprentice. Now, back in the day when there was no online resources available and your only options were Ink Master, Miami Ink, Tattoo Nightmares, whatever, yeah, it was true. You would pick up a lot of bad habits because learning to tattoo from a TV show isn't the most optimal way to learn, okay? Things like, resting your hand on the stencil and rubbing it off halfway through the tattoo or putting your finger too close to the needle when you're pulling lines, little things like that, once they become habit, become very difficult to remove from your muscle memory. And a lot of artists would just simply, think that it wasn't worth the extra effort. They wanted a clean slate that they could work with so they could teach them their way from start to finish. But fast forward to today, times have absolutely changed, okay? Most online tattooing courses or online resources for learning how to tattoo are far more comprehensive than what you'd actually learn inside of an apprenticeship, even if it goes for a couple of years. Okay, we have people all the time saying that they learn more in 30 days from watching our free stuff on YouTube than what they learned in 2 years under their mentor. Another downside of learning in an apprenticeship is that no one actually sits down next to you and shows you how to tattoo. Because every artist in a shop is paid on commission, in order for them to stop tattooing and teach you, they have to stop making money, right? Which is a huge ask. The way that you learn in a shop is that you just walk around the floor, after all your cleaning is done, of course, and then you try and ask as many smart questions as you can of the artist and pick up as much as you can. Problem with this is that you don't even know what you're looking for, okay? Because no one's showed you anything. It does work, but it takes a very long time. For example, my apprenticeship was 4 years. Okay, we're teaching people how to tattoo in 90 days. So if you have learned a tattoo online, where do you go from here? We know that a lot of artists have a negative perception of learning how to tattoo online. How do you get into a shop if that's the way that you've gone about it? If that's something you'd like some guidance on, I actually recorded a call with our students a little while ago. I got a recording of it. It's just a link down in the description below. It shows you exactly what to say, how to present yourself, the best way to go about it to maximize your chances of getting a job in a tattoo studio if you've learned online. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification icon so that we can keep making more content for you. That's it for this one. See you in the next video.